UVA basketball. 10 things we learned about Virginia in the Bahamas. Virginia faced its first two significant tests of the post-Tony Bennett era and failed both of those tests miserably, getting blown off the floor by Tennessee and St. John's on consecutive nights in the Bahamas by a combined 47 points. Do these losses mean that the sky is falling in Charlottesville, or is there hope for a young team with a new interim head coach to pull it all together for ACC play? Let's break it all down with 10 things we learned about the Cavaliers from their two losses in the Bahamas. 1. It's not panic time, but the warning signs are there. Let's start with the unfortunate big-picture observation. Virginia looked about as outmatched as one could fathom a team being in games between two major conference opponents. It's possible that the Cavaliers could improve enough to compete with teams of this caliber by the end of the year, but Thursday and Friday in the Bahamas showed that the Hoos have a lot of ground to make up. Everything seemed to come fairly easily offensively for Tennessee in the second half and St. John's for the entire game, while the Cavaliers struggled mightily to generate open shots, and even their makes were difficult. Past UVA teams could depend on stout defense to keep themselves in games while the offense played catch-up, but that might not be the case for this team. Virginia will need to improve significantly on both ends of the floor in order to contend in the top third of the ACC. 2. More trouble with the full-court press. Even Tony Bennett's best teams that had a light point guards and a surplus of trusty ball handlers had their moments of vulnerability against the full-court press. All throughout Bennett's 15 years at UVA, opponents used the press to speed up the Cavaliers and in some unfortunately unforgettable moments. 2016 Syracuse, 2023 Furman, etc. Forced critical turnovers that altered the outcomes of big games. Ron Sanchez does not have the benefit of a Reese Beekman, Ty Jerome, or London Perrantes to guide the ball up the floor. Di Ames has promise, and Andrew Rode has shown flashes of improvement, but Jalen Warley's entrance into the transfer portal has left this team alarmingly thin at the point guard spot and dangerously vulnerable to the full-court press. Tennessee and St. John's expose that weakness, and UVA's future opponents will undoubtedly take note. 3. Virginia can't afford to turn the ball over this much. UVA is once again operating at the bottom of college basketball in terms of tempo. 363rd out of 364 teams in Division I men's basketball. It seems Ron Sanchez will not be abandoning Bennett's embrace the pace style anytime soon. If that's going to be the case, then the Cavaliers absolutely cannot afford to turn the ball over with the frequency they did in the Bahamas. Against Tennessee, Virginia turned the ball over 18 times, and the Volunteers score a hopping 30 points off of those takeaways. UVA turned it over 16 times against St. John's, and the Johnnies scored 18 points off of those takeaways, 34 turnovers and 48 points off of turnovers in 2 nights. It's not a fluke either, as the Cavaliers are averaging 13.8 turnovers per game this season as compared to just 9.2 turnovers for their opponents. Virginia's slow pace of play and poor ball security are a self-destructive combination. 4. A repeat of the 2023 to 2024 season with blowout losses. Last season, Virginia suffered 10 losses by double digits and lost 6 games by at least 20 points. That included a horrendous 34-point loss at Virginia Tech and a 25-point defeat to Colorado State in the NCAA tournament playing game. While no one was expecting Ron Sanchez to completely solve the sluggish offenses that characterized Bennett's final few years at UVA, it's concerning to see the Cavaliers returning to the same old scoring droughts that doomed them to those blowout losses last season. Virginia had multiple lengthy scoring droughts against Tennessee and went nearly 8 minutes without scoring in the first half against St. John's, turning a 19-16 game into a 35-16 blowout before halftime. UVA's offense is still going stale with no timely answers. 5. Isaac McNeely shut down. Virginia's offense wasn't exactly humming in the first 3 games of the season, but the hot shooting the Cavaliers exhibited against Villanova, headlined by Isaac McNeely's perfect 6-6 night from beyond the arc, gave hope for the Hoos moving forward. Those hopes were crushed immediately in the Bahamas, as McNeely was held to just 6 shot attempts, 1/3 from three-point range, and 4 points against Tennessee before rebounding with a moderate 3/9, 10-point showing against St. John's. It was far too easy for these teams to effectively neutralize Virginia's top scorer. McNeely must be more aggressive, and the Cavaliers must find better ways to scheme open shots for the sharpshooter even when opposing defenses are keyed in on him.